My girlfriend said, "Delete every female contact if you love me." I nodded. Then I deleted her contact first. She found out when I ignored her. Well, everything. 28 male, am a planner. My name is Matthew. My job is to analyze systems, anticipate points of failure, and build robust solutions. I apply that logic to my life. My finances are mapped out. My career has a 5-year plan. I like knowing the variables, which is why I'm still reeling from the variable I failed to properly account for. My girlfriend's entitlement. Ashley, 26, and I were together for 2 years. On the surface, it was what you see in movies. She's stunning, charismatic, a whirlwind of energy that makes life feel exciting. But beneath the surface, there were hairline fractures in the foundation. Subtle digs about my female colleagues. Jokes about how close I was with my cousin Margaret, who's basically my sister. I cataloged them as insecurities, minor bugs in an otherwise functional system. I was wrong. They weren't bugs, they were features. Last Tuesday night, we were at my place on the couch watching some vapid reality show. My phone lit up on the coffee table, a text from Margaret with a stupid meme. I chuckled and showed it to her. Ashley's smile didn't reach her eyes. "I don't like that," she said, her voice dangerously quiet. "It's a cat playing a tiny piano, what's not to like?" "Her," she clarified. "I don't like her, or Sandra from your work, or that girl from your gym. I don't like any of them." I felt the atmospheric pressure in the room drop. This wasn't an argument brewing. It was a verdict being delivered. Ashley, Margaret is my cousin. The others are friends or acquaintances. That's it. She looked me dead in the eye, her expression stripped of all warmth. This was it. The moment of hostile takeover. "If you really love me," she said, each word a carefully placed stone, "you'll prove it. I want you to open your phone right now and delete every female contact that isn't your mom." I just stared. I let the demand wash over me. The sheer audacity of it. It wasn't about her feeling secure. It was about me being isolated. It was a Control-Alt-Delete command for my entire social life. My brain, the systems analyst, didn't feel anger or panic. It just ran diagnostics. Scenario A, argue. Result, a screaming match, temporary retreat from her, followed by a bigger, more invasive test later. Scenario B, refuse. Result the same, but faster. There was no winning. There was only acting. I held her gaze, I picked up my phone, and I gave a slow, deliberate nod. "Okay." A triumphant smile bloomed on her face. "You will? For me?" "If it's what you need," I said, my voice perfectly level. I unlocked my phone, went to my contacts, and scrolled to A. I found her entry, Ashley. I pressed and held. I tapped delete. Confirmed. Then I went to my call settings and blocked the number. I placed the phone, screen down, back on the table. Done. She was ecstatic. She kissed me, told me she knew I'd make the right choice, and floated off to the bathroom to get ready for bed. In those few minutes, I opened my laptop. Changed the passwords for Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, my food delivery apps. A system-wide security patch. She came out, we got into bed, and she fell asleep in my arms, purring like a cat who'd just been given the entire dairy farm. I didn't sleep. I just lay there, feeling the profound, hollow ache of a 2-year investment being written off as a total loss. There was no rage, just a quiet, clean finality. The next morning, I was up before her. I made coffee, packed a duffel bag with enough clothes for a week, and left for work. I left her spare key on the kitchen counter next to the Nespresso machine she loved so much. The day was normal until about mid-morning. Then the barrage began. It wasn't calls because I'd blocked her. It was everything else. Texts from numbers I didn't recognize, her friends, her sister, DMs on Instagram from burner accounts. My phone screen was a waterfall of notifications. During my lunch break, I checked my voicemail. It was full. "Matthew, why did your text turn green? Call me back. Seriously, what is going on? I tried to leave and come back, and my key doesn't work. Did you change the locks? Call me." "Matthew, this isn't funny. I saw you deleted my number. I meant the other girls, not me. You absolute idiot. Call me right now. My friends are asking about dinner tonight. What am I supposed to tell them?" I sipped my coffee. I hadn't deleted anyone else, just her. The single point of failure. I'm staying at my friend Paul's place now. My landlord is a good guy. He changed the locks for me this morning. I haven't responded to a single message. The silence is my answer. Update 1. Thank you all for the comments and support. It's strangely comforting to know this kind of thing isn't just a plot from a bad movie. It's been an exhausting, clarifying week. After a few nights at Paul's, I went back to my apartment. The silence was beautiful. There was a note slid under my door, a rambling multi-page manifesto written in Ashley's loopy cursive. It was a masterclass in blame shifting. I can't believe you'd twist my words. I was just trying to protect our love, and the grand finale, you've created this mess and you need to fix it. I shredded it. The real escalation came via my mother. I was in the middle of a work meeting when my phone buzzed with a call from her. I stepped out, my stomach tightening. She only calls during work for emergencies. Matthew, I just had the most distressing call with Ashley. My blood ran cold. Of course, the flank attack. Oh, she was hysterical, said you broke her heart, threw her out, and that you're trying to steal her trip to Japan. And there it was, the main event. For my upcoming 29th birthday, I had booked a 2-week trip to Japan. It was the trip of a lifetime, one I'd been saving for and planning for over a year. I'd paid for everything, premium economy flights, boutique hotels in Tokyo and Kyoto, the whole 9 yards. The total cost was just over $9,000. All from my savings account. It was supposed to be my gift to us. What exactly did she say about the trip, Mom? She said it was a joint vacation, that she helped plan it all, and that if you break up with her, you owe her half the money. She said her family knows about it, all her friends, that you're trying to publicly humiliate her. She wasn't just my ex. In her new narrative, she was a jilted co-investor. The proof arrived later that day. An email from an unfamiliar address. Subject, Japan, a path forward. Matthew, since you are acting childishly and refusing to communicate, I'm putting this in writing. My father, who is a business owner and understands these things, agrees that I am entitled to my share of the trip. I put emotional labor and countless hours into planning it. You have 2 options to resolve this maturely. 1, you transfer me $4,500 and I will sign any document you require. 2, we go on the trip as friends. It is already paid for, and it would be foolish to waste it. This would show everyone you are a good person. If you refuse both reasonable options, I will be forced to explore legal avenues to recoup my investment and damages for the emotional distress you are causing. I had to read it twice to fully absorb the depth of her entitlement. My sadness from that first night was now completely gone, calcified into something diamond hard and crystal clear. She wanted to talk about investments and mature options. Okay, let's be mature. As a planner for a 9-kala trip, I hadn't just bought tickets. I'd bought a comprehensive, cancel for any reason, CFR travel insurance policy. It cost a few $100 extra, but it covered unforeseen circumstances. This, I thought, was the most unforeseen circumstance of all. I spent the evening on the phone and online. The airline confirmed what I already knew. The tickets were non-refundable and names were non-transferable. But my CFR insurance was the key. I could file a claim for a cancellation. The policy allowed for a refund of 75% of the non-refundable costs per person. So I couldn't give her seat away. But I could erase her from the itinerary entirely and recoup about $3,400 of the $4,500 I'd spent on her half. A new plan started to form, a much better, cleaner, and far more satisfying plan. I replied to her email with a single, cool sentence. Thank you for your options, Ashley. I will be handling the disposition of the trip's assets myself. Then I filed the insurance claim for one traveler, and I started building a new webpage. Update 2, I have created a monster. Or rather, I've held up a mirror, and Ashley has become a monster in her own reflection. The fallout from my last move has been spectacular. The insurance claim was approved. A check for $3,375 is on its way. So I was out about $1,100 for her half of the trip, but I was free. The real victory, however, was what this allowed me to do next. I finalized the webpage. The headline was simple: The Phoenix Project, Win a Dream Trip to Japan. I scrubbed my Instagram of every photo of Ashley, set the profile to public for the first time in years, and made a post. In it, I explained the concept calmly and honestly. Sometimes plans change. I recently had a significant non-refundable portion of a dream trip to Japan canceled. Thanks to insurance, I was able to recover a majority of the funds. I've decided to take this negative situation and turn it into a profound positive. I am adding my own funds to the recovered amount to create the Phoenix Project, a completely new, all-expenses-paid trip to Japan for a deserving couple who has faced adversity and deserves a chance to build beautiful memories. To enter, fill out the form and share your story. I'm not looking for pity. I'm looking for resilience. I shared the link. Paul and Margaret shared it, and it took off in our circles. Because it wasn't petty. It wasn't, I'm giving my ex's ticket away. It was, I am taking the money my ex tried to extort from me and using it for good. The reframing drove her insane. First came the texts from her friends' numbers. Take it down. This is sick. You're using our breakup for clicks. My aunt saw your post. She thinks I did something horrible. You are ruining my reputation. Then came the public performance. She posted a tear-drenched story on her Instagram, vague references to being betrayed by the person she trusted most, and how a private matter was being twisted into a sick publicity stunt. It was masterful manipulation. A few of our mutual friends who were more in her camp sent me angry messages. I ignored them all. The final piece was the letter, a formal-looking cease and desist from a local law firm. It was mostly bluster, accusing me of defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. It once again demanded I take down the contest and, the pièce de résistance, pay her the $4,500 she was owed. They were actually trying to use the law to enforce her delusion. It rattled me for a moment, but then I read it again and saw it for what it was, a scare tactic. I hadn't named her. I hadn't even implied wrongdoing on her part, only that plans had changed. She was the one screaming to the world that the post was about her. I scanned the letter and saved it to a new folder on my laptop titled Ashley Correspondence. Then I focused on the good part. I spent an entire evening reading the submissions for the contest, over 100 of them. People's stories of resilience, love, and hardship were humbling. It made my drama feel infinitesimally small. I chose a couple, Kimberly and Mark. She's a pediatric oncology nurse, he's a paramedic. They had been married for 3 years, and their honeymoon savings had been wiped out by a family medical emergency. They were perfect. I called them. I booked them a brand new trip, flights, hotels, everything, using the insurance money and topping it up with my own. Hearing the pure, unadulterated joy in their voices was the best ROI I've ever experienced. I was still going on my own trip. I had my ticket, my half of the hotel rooms. I would be there at the same time as them, and we made plans to meet for a few dinners. With that settled, I took one final step. I carefully packed every last item Ashley had left at my place into 3 neat boxes. The Dyson Airwrap, the designer handbag she'd forgotten, her expensive skincare. I unblocked her number for a moment and sent a single text. I have your things boxed up. Let me know when you would like to arrange for them to be collected. Her reply was instantaneous. No. I'm getting them myself. We are going to talk about this, Matthew. Face to face. The final confrontation. I was ready. Okay, I replied. Tomorrow, 5 p.m., don't be late. Then I blocked her again. Final updates done. The system is clean, the bug has been patched, and the final log file has been written. My solo trip to Japan was transformative. The quiet introspection, the beauty of the culture, it was exactly what I needed. Meeting up with Kimberly and Mark for a few dinners was the highlight. Seeing their happiness, their easy affection, the way they looked at the world with such wonder, it was a powerful reminder of what a healthy partnership looks like. It was all genuine. I came back feeling lighter. Ashley arrived at my door at 5:01 p.m. yesterday. I had asked Paul to be there, just as a silent observer. He was on the couch, pretending to be on his phone, providing a silent, steadying presence. Ashley looked tired. The entitled princess act was gone, replaced by a raw, brittle anger. She saw the 3 boxes by the door. That's everything? That's everything, I confirmed. She ignored the boxes. You actually did it. You took money that should have been mine and you gave it away to strangers, all to humiliate me. It was never your money, Ashley, I said, my voice calm. It was a gift I intended to give you, but you didn't want the gift. You wanted its cash value. When you tried to extort me, you forfeited any claim to it. I just reinvested the assets. I loved you. I wanted you to choose me. You gave me an ultimatum meant to isolate me. I did choose. I chose myself. That's when the tears started. They felt rehearsed. I miss you, Matthew. I was scared. I made a mistake. Can't we just talk? There's nothing to talk about. Please take your things. Her face snapped from feigned sadness to cold fury. The mask was off. Fine. Be that way. Then we'll talk about the compensation you owe me. My lawyer is confident I have a strong case for emotional distress and my financial stake in that trip. Paul subtly shifted on the couch, now listening intently. Your financial stake, I repeated slowly. I walked to my desk and picked up a thin folder. I didn't open it. I just held it. Let's be clear, Ashley. You have no financial stake. But since you and your lawyer are so keen on formal proceedings, I had a consultation with an actual lawyer myself. Not a letter writer, a litigator. I looked her in the eyes. If you file a lawsuit against me, that will trigger the discovery process. And in that process, my defense will be to establish your character and a pattern of financial exploitation. I won't need to invoice you. I will simply present evidence. I finally opened the folder and took out a single, neatly typed page. I placed it on the coffee table. It wasn't an invoice. The title was Ledger of Financial Contributions and Communications. It will start with this, I said. A timeline. It details, for instance, the 3 months of rent you lived here and promised to contribute to but never did, always having an excuse, roughly $2,100. It details the utilities. It details the non-refundable deposits for things you insisted on and then bailed on. It's not a bill, it's evidence. I then gestured to my phone. Then we'll move on to communications. I have 17 saved voicemails of you screaming at me, demanding money. I have screenshots of every manipulative social media post. I have the threatening letter from your lawyer. My defense will be simple, that you are not a victim, but a manipulator attempting to extort money from an ex-boyfriend after a breakup you initiated with a controlling demand. I leaned back. So you can take your things and leave, and this all goes away. Or you can proceed with your lawsuit, and we can have a very public, very thorough conversation about this ledger in a court of law. Do you really want a judge to see this? The color drained from her face. She stared at the paper, her mind clearly racing. There were no tears, no anger, just the dead, flat look of utter defeat. She was cornered not by threats, but by her own documented history, by facts, by the truth. Without another word, she strode over, signed the sheet I had confirming she'd received her property, hoisted her 3 boxes, and walked out of my life. The click of the lock behind her was the sweetest sound. Paul let out a long, low whistle. Dude, that wasn't just surgical, that was an autopsy. System purged, I said, a real smile touching my lips for the first time in weeks. I heard through the grapevine she moved back home with her parents. Her social media has gone quiet. The friends who took her side have been conspicuously silent. People like her don't change. They just run out of runway. I deleted one contact, and in doing so, I rebooted my entire life. I lost a girlfriend, but I regained my own system, and it's running better than ever.